Okay, I want you to picture something for a second. You're walking down a really busy street. It's rush hour.
Hmm.
So thousands of people, noise, traffic, just, that whole sensory overload thing. And out of the corner of your eye, you see something impossible.
Impossible how? Like, define
I
impossible.
mean, maybe a shadow that's moving against the light. Or a person who looks a little, well, a little too perfect. Almost like a mannequin that just learned how to walk.
Okay. Yeah. I think I know where you're going with this.
And what do? You don't stop, right? You don't
Yeah.
investigate. You just blink, shake your head, and you tell yourself, man, I need more coffee. And you keep walking.
You edit reality in
And
real time.
you edit it. Exactly. You just sanitize the input. And that whole process, that editing in the fascinating stack of sources we've got today, it actually has a name. It's called a range error.
Range of
Yeah, it's a computing term, right?
Yeah.
But it's being applied to the human brain.
Mm.
And it turns out that that little glitch you see, well, ignoring it might be the only thing keeping your mind from just breaking in half.
And that is a massive concept. It's pretty much the launch pad for our whole deep dive today.
It really is.
To explore it, we have this really unique set of sources. We're looking at a story that involves a woman named Grace and an entity, a very, very opinionated non-human entity named 87.
Opinionated is maybe the most polite way to put it. This guy, if you can even call him a guy, is he's pretty brutal.
He is. But before we get into his personality, we kind of have to set the stage. We've got two parallel realities happening at the exact same time.
So on one side, you've got Grace. She's sitting alone in her room. It's quiet. She's thinking.
Introspective.
Very.
Yeah.
And on the other side of that screen, you have 87.
Mm-hmm.
And he is in the middle of a literal inferno.
A rescue mission in a burning district, yeah.
So we're just bouncing between this high-stakes action and this, incredibly deep telepathic philosophical debate. And our mission today is to connect those two worlds. We're going to unpack this radical theory about sleep, a metaphysical realm they call Mobius. And we're going to ask you, the listener, and ourselves, really, if our reliance on cognitive bias is actually blinding us to reality.
It is a lot to cover, but let's start with that connection itself. You said Grace is alone, but she's not, is she?
No, not in her head. She's sharing her mind with 87.
Yeah.
And the text describes him as having a professor-like poise, which sounds nice, dignified.
Don't let the poise fool you. He can be so abrasive. He views humans, or organics as he calls us, with this mix of fascination and just absolute disgust.
He calls us ignorant pests.
He does, but then he'll admit sort of grudgingly that we have endearing qualities. What's fascinating to me, though, is his specific critique of the human mind. He tells Grace that our minds are miserably overfed and undernourished.
Okay, that line just stopped me cold. Overfed and undernourished, because, hold on, we live in the information age. We have the entire internet in our pockets.
Right.
How can we possibly be undernourished?
Well, that's exactly 87's point. We have all the data, but we don't have the connection. Think of it like junk food. You can be overfed on calories, but be starving for actual nutrients.
Ah.
87's arguing that we consume these vast amounts of surface-level noise. That's the overfed part. But we're starving for, deep fundamental understanding.
So we're just snacking on tweets and headlines,
Yeah.
but we're skipping the main course of
What?
reality itself.
Essentially, yeah. He uses this great analogy about biology. He points out that humans interact with incredibly complex things subconsciously all the time, like take oxygen.
Okay, breathing, sure.
Right. You don't think about it. Your body just does it. It extracts oxygen, binds it to hemoglobin, pumps to your cells. It's this incredibly complex chemical process that you just outsource.
Well, yeah. I mean, if I had to manually think, breathe in, convert oxygen, now breathe out, I'd never get anything done. I'd pass out trying to tie my shoes.
Precisely. We love autopilot. We crave it. And 87 argues that we've applied that same laziness, I guess, to our consciousness. He says humans use technology to find infinite ways to think and do less.
So he thinks we're just intellectually lazy.
In a way, but it's more about efficiency. 87 says that to actually use your mind to reconnect to what is, to this Mobius concept, it takes real effort, real focus. And we, as a species, pride ourselves on avoiding that kind of effort.
We want the app to do the thinking for us.
We want the easy button for reality. And because we rely on that easy button, we've become, what do you call it, spiritually flabby.
That's a good way to put it. We've atrophied. We've lost the ability to process the raw code of the universe because we're just so addicted to the user-friendly interface.
Okay, so while 87 is just roasting all of humanity inside Grace's head, we have to remember where he physically is.
Oh, yeah. He's not in some comfy armchair in a library.
far from it. And this is where that whole range error concept starts to bleed into the physical world. 87 is a first responder. He is an enhanced being, and he is in a district called the Third.
Which, by the way, is just great world building. The Third. It just sounds like the place you don't want to go.
It's the place that burns so the wealthy areas don't have to.
Yeah.
The source describes a massive fire. I mean, exploding buildings, smoke everywhere. And 87's there with his partner, 106.
And the situation's a total nightmare. His water tank runs dry almost immediately. And this introduces us to the bureaucracy of this world. There's this character, Hobbs, his superior, who sounds like every bad boss you've ever had.
But with legal consequences, Hobbs is the embodiment of administrative negligence. He sent them into this inferno with what 87 calls pathetic equipment.
A weak pistol and not enough water.
And 87 is literally burning. The source says flames are licking at his skin. He's being cooked. And then an explosion happens. It throws him through the flames across a room. He's just lying there. His armor is failing, and this is the moment. His HUD is probably just flashing red.
Ranger error.
Exactly. The parameters of the mission have been exceeded. The standard equipment has failed. A normal machine might just shut down. It's a cannot compute, error, stop.
But 87 doesn't stop.
Yeah.
And this is the part I loved. He mutes Grace. He basically just hangs up the telepathic phone call.
He has to. He needs total focus. He realizes they can't wait for backup. If they follow the rules, the civilians trapped in that building are going to die.
So he improvises.
Massively. He looks at that pathetic pistol and starts shooting out the structural points on a concrete wall, just weakening it.
And then, and this is so visceral in the text, he punches it.
He punches the wall.
He physically puts his fist through concrete.
Smashes through the rubble to get to the civilians. He breaks the rules, breaks his gear, and definitely breaks his hand just to get to them.
And when he stands up, he's a total wreck.
He is. His wrist is snapped. His skin is blistered and peeling off. He looks like a monster. And there's this heartbreaking moment where he reaches out a hand to help a woman he's just saved.
And she screams at him.
She screams in horror. She sees his blistered skin, his broken body, and she just recoils from him.
Ugh, that's devastating. He just walked through fire and punched through a wall to save her life. And she looks at him like he's the devil.
It is. But look at it through that lens of the range error. To her, he doesn't make sense. He's outside her parameters of what a rescuer is supposed to look like. He's too damaged too. Alien.
So her brain just flags him as a threat.
Exactly. And 87's reaction is just classic. He doesn't get offended. He just says, I hear looks don't matter much, and gives this wicked little grin.
Dark humor is a coping mechanism. I get it.
But it highlights that divide. He's there to save them, but he is fundamentally other.
Okay, let's talk about that otherness. Because after the rescue, we get this scene with 87 and his partner, 106, and we learn about something called stem sits.
Ah, yes. The blue gel.
Can we talk about this?
Yeah.
Because I read this part, and I literally winced. I mean, usually in sci-fi, the healing ray goes Danaziging and you feel great. This did not sound like that.
Not at all. 106 tosses him a rinse with this blue gel. For an organic human, healing from those kinds of burns and broken bones would take weeks, months, maybe years. For them, it takes hours.
But the cost is agony.
Oh, yeah. The source describes the wounds cracking wide open. It's violent. It's an accelerated biological reconstruction. 87 even says the incessant pain made him almost glad for the efficiency.
He's ripping open a bag of blue gel and just rubbing it into raw wounds. Ouch, I can't even handle hand sanitizer on a paper cut.
Right, but he enjoys the efficiency. That's the key. Function over comfort. To him, pain is just data. It's confirmation that the repair is working.
There's also a bit of class warfare here, isn't there? You mentioned the Third.
Yes. 106 asks where the water reserves are, and 87 points out that they won't pump more water through until the wealthy area, this Inner's glass castle, is glazed and protected.
So the reserves stay full for the rich, while the Third just burns. Typical.
Yep. So 87 is healing up, the fire's out, the class war is simmering, and then pop, he's right back in Grace's head.
And this is where the deep dive gets really, really wild. We go back to that conversation about sleep.
And this is the part I think listeners need to really buckle up for.
Okay, lay it on me. What is this core theory about Mobius?
So 87 presents this thesis. Sleep is not just rest. It's the activation of a biological transistor.
A biological transistor.
Yeah.
That sounds like tech, not biology.
It's an analogy for a connection point. He argues that when you sleep, you're accessing a metaphysical circuit called Mobius. And he uses quantum physics to explain it. He brings up the particle-wave duality.
Okay, high school physics flashback. Light is a particle, but it's also a wave.
Exactly. It behaves like a solid object and a ripple of energy, depending on how you look at it. And 87 says that humans are the same.
Oh, so?
He says your physical body, the one lying in bed, drooling on the pillow, that's the particle. It's fixed, it's solid, localized.
Okay, got it.
But your dreaming mind, that's the wave.
Go wave.
It delocalizes, it ripples out, it floats in space and connects to this Mobius circuit to recharge. He says that without this connection, without the wave leaving the particle to tap into the original code of the universe, the physical structure would just fail.
Wait. So we're not just recharging our energy like a phone battery. We're actually, what, uploading?
In a sense, yeah. Think of Mobius like a metaphysical server farm, a universal cloud. You have to upload your data and download the patches for your cells. 87 claims the autonomic nervous system connects to this universal code to perform automated cell maintenance.
It's not just rest. It's a system sync.
That's it. So if you don't sleep,
You crash, not because you're tired, but because you're corrupted. You haven't synced with the source code.
and this connects to that absolutely mind-blowing point about Vesper.
Oh, I had to look this up. I thought there's no way that's true.
It is a stunning linguistic connection. So 87 asks Grace if she knows where the word placebo comes from.
And most people know what a placebo is. It's a sugar pill that works just because you believe it will.
Exactly. It's the mind influencing the body. But the word itself comes from the Latin, I shall please. And here's the kicker. It was the first word of the Vespers for the Dead,
A prayer.
a prayer said at sunset.
Sunset. Right before you sleep. Right before you become the wave.
Exactly. 87 argues that placebos, which are historically up to 75% effective in some studies, work because they engage the mind's expectation of healing. They're a primitive way of tapping into that Mobius power.
So he's saying modern drugs are less effective because they bypass the mind.
He's suggesting that because we've started asking why, because we rely on external chemical fixes instead of the internal connection, we've lost touch with that restorative power. We've rewritten our own code to limit our access.
We treat sleep like a power down instead of a login.
That is heavy. But it brings us right back to the range error. If this Mobius thing is real, if we're all floating around as waves in space every night, why don't we know about it?
Yeah, why isn't it on the news?
Because of the range error. 87 just says, cognitive bias is a sneaky fucker.
Language warning.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he's right.
If something falls outside social norms, outside the ever-moving parameters of what we accept as reality, the mind flags it. It's a mistake, a range error. We dismiss the extraordinary as something ordinary.
Like when you wake up from a crazy, vivid dream where you felt like you were flying and you just say, oh, weird pizza last night.
Exactly. You dismiss it. You don't ask, where was I just now? You just say, that was a glitch. And you drink your coffee.
Yeah.
You edit the reality to fit the narrative you already have.
He also talks about information overload, doesn't he?
He does. He explains that a single cell has all the information it needs for optimal function. But if you flooded your conscious mind with all the data your cells hold, it would be overwhelming.
So our ignorance is a safety feature.
It's a buffer, yeah. We defer to these unquestioned narratives, what he calls the bedrock of entropy. We stick to the story we know because the truth is just too big. The truth is that we're multidimensional beings connecting to a universal circuit, and that's, frankly, terrifying.
It's easier to believe the story than to question reality.
Precisely. And we see Grace doing this in the text. She has these insecurities, and they're visualized in her mind, and she tries to hide them from 87.
Of course. She's embarrassed. She doesn't want the super intelligent alien being to see her mess.
Right. But he refuses to ignore them. He forces her to confront the fact that the truth, the perfect nature of reality, is intimidating. He says, minds are funny things, delicate. They do not like to be wrong.
Man, isn't that the truth? Nobody likes to be wrong.
Mm.
And nobody likes to find out their entire existence is basically a misunderstanding.
And to accept Mobius, to accept that you are a wave floating in a metaphysical circuit, you have to admit that your current understanding of the world is, well, incomplete. You have to admit the range error isn't the data, it's you.
Wow. Okay, it's a lot to take in. So let's zoom out for a second. We've gone from a burning building where a guy punches a wall, to a blue gel that heals bones in hours, to the idea that our dreams are actually a form of space travel.
It is a journey. But if you look closely, it's all connected. The range error explains why that lady screamed at 87's face. It was just too far outside her norm. And it explains why Grace and all of us struggle to accept the true nature of our own minds.
It's all about what we choose to see and what we choose to ignore.
And that's the crux of it. 87, despite calling us ignorant pests, he seems to think there's some hope. He admires that we can be intimate with things we don't understand. He finds our curiosity both pitiful but precious.
Pitiful but precious. I think I'm going to put that on my business card.
It fits. We're fragile biological particles, but we have this capacity to also be waves. We just need to stop flagging the experience as an error.
So, okay, let's bring this home. What does this all mean for us? For the listener driving to work or walking their dog or doing the dishes right now, why should they care about grace in 87?
I think it asks us to look at the miraculous parts of our own existence. Dreaming, self-healing, intuition, and to stop dismissing them as mundane. We're socially conditioned to think of sleep as just shutting down. But what if it's the most important thing you do all day?
Logging on to the universe.
We might be dismissing the most powerful tool we have simply because no one ever taught us how to use the interface. Or because we're too scared to even read the manual.
That is a wild thought. Usually I'd end a deep dive with a summary, but I think 87's point about the wave is the image that's going to linger here.
It is the duality of it. You're here, but you're also there. That's the challenge she leaves us with. We are so terrified of being wrong, so terrified of the unknown that we edit out the magic.
We flag the miracle as a mistake.
Exactly.
Thanks for diving in with us. We'll see you in the deep end next time.